Hey, this is Mr. G here. I want to go through some of the fidgets that are in the bin here. That way you get an idea of, hey, perhaps what you can do with it, and how your students can use that. I'm going to feel like I'm doing an unboxing, right? Well, first thing I'll unbox here, or I'll take out of the bin here, is really probably the best place to start, and that is what essentially is a timer. So you can see as it drops down, it keeps track of time. So it's visual. I would recommend that you put this in a spot where you can see it. And that way you have an idea of how much time a student is taking to kind of come back to a better point in terms of regulation. And so this is something that the students can also see at the same time. So I'm going to then go to the tangle that's in here. And this is my favorite, I think, of what's in the box here, because this is really something that can take them quite a long time to get through. But there's a lot that they can do with it. They can pull these apart and then connect them in any order that you want. The idea here, though, is to really make sure that you are keeping track, I guess, at the end of the pieces, but truly, like, in our younger grades, we don't want these to be chewed on or anything like that. So just be careful with that. But really, there's a lot that they can do with it. It's continuous movement. Again, behind the scenes, right? Like as it is, these fidgets are really they're used to keep our bodies busy where our minds are going. And really, that is a let's just say a newer kind of thing where it's really more often students are needing that because they are having difficult times, a more difficulty, I should say, with the concept of self-soothing. And so here's the Tangle. There's also it's like a modified stress ball that I have here, and it's texture, meaning like on the inside, there's like these little, I don't know what to call them, beads maybe, but like it also stretches out. Now I'm going to pause for a moment because I actually can say that this is more than just a stress ball. It is a breathing technique. Watch this. In, out, in, out. Now, the way that I go and teach breathing is that it's all about control. And so if you're able to use a stress ball or other things that can be used to control the breath, it's very helpful. For me, I'm not keen on stress balls because it forces them to tighten up, right? Instead of loosening up, doing something different. And so I do have some additional videos already set that where students can actually just all they need are their hands and they can use them as fidgets. So speaking of some of the balls that are in here, this one is a textured ball, and it's not super easy to squeeze, but is textured. This is something that if you have a community circle or you're having a restorative conversation perhaps on your own with students, if that arises, that this would be something that would be like, hey, this is the talking piece because it is texture. It's something that can be thrown, but as a means to have this in the your calming kit, your toolbox over here. Um, I just want to make sure that you understand that there are other uses for this, for sure. This one, though, is the first one I'll highlight that may look different than some of the fidgets that you've used before, you've seen. You have the balls on the ends, okay, and everything rotates around. You have the balls, and then you have the three different color cubes here, and each of the sides has a different pattern, okay, and so again, students could not only look at the visual that's here as they work on it. One of the reasons why I like this is because I can take this here and now it's under my desk and I'm still like fidgeting, but I'm not distracting anybody right now because it's under my desk. I don't have a bouncy band. I don't have a stress ball. Instead, I have this. Okay. Now, yes, it takes two hands, but perhaps they're doing an activity where all they're doing is listening. And as a result, wow, they might be, I'm sorry to say this, they might be fully focused. Well, keeping their bodies busy, it may help. And so if they are not taking notes, not, calling out and responding inappropriately, then this is something that's a good technique to bring back to their desk for that. So I'm not even going to open this one. This is a mini sensory foam. And so I have some of these in my office that are like in little containers. They're like plastic that, you know, are kind of like one use only. But from my standpoint, they're okay if you are monitoring their use. Typically, the foam breaks apart and it's harder to clean up. But it is something that they can squeeze, and sometimes they can get it through their fingers, and you know, you can see that in a different way. But again, that is an additional fidget. So the idea, remember, behind a fidget in and of itself is that you want to encourage them to use strategies that don't require a staff member, let's say, an adult, right? And so they can begin to self-soothe, even though like this is only part of what they can do. So of course, I'm going to include more items for you that are visuals for our younger learners, and then things that have words. Could be techniques that they want to do. Hey, like do 10 jumping jacks, or, you know, touch the red circle or the blue square, and things like that. So that's also something that, you know, can be there. And there are some sensory things that, you know, students can keep on their desks that can also be helpful. When I come in for my counseling lessons, I will actually also give out fidgets, because I like a certain fidget now, and they've worked for me in the past, and I don't want to give too much away now, but they are also things that you can use to help students regulate and keep track of their breath. So this is Mr. G. Hopefully this helps you with what is in your kit. Now, I will say, I don't believe all the kits are the same. So if you need help, please let me know. I would encourage you to have exact parameters, like really specific parameters on when students can access that. And really more often than not, it should be how they access it, and then how they put it back. Okay. And that's why I said that this right here should be the very first thing. Okay. Oh, speaking of fidgets, I have a fidget ring right here. Okay. So I'm a big proponent of them. Okay. Anyway, this is Mr. G. Have a great day.